Good afternoon. My name is Larry Klayman. You know me as the founder of both Judicial Watch and now Freedom Watch. I'm currently the chairman and general counsel of Freedom Watch, and we fight government corruption and we're for ethics and morality in government. I'm coming to you today in my private capacity as the attorney of Cliven Bundy. I've gotten to know him over the last 4 years. I first met him 4 years ago, right after the successful standoff at his ranch in Bunkerville, Nevada, right outside of Las Vegas, when federal agents of the Bureau of Land Management and the FBI raided his land, threatened the lives of him and his family, viciously assaulted his sister Margaret, throwing her to the ground, tased his 2 sons, violently kicked his dog, almost killed the dog, and killed bulls in the herd. Those bulls are necessary to raise a herd and to have a ranch survive. Cliven Bundy, his sons Ammon and Ryan, and Davy, and also Mel, were later indicted 2 years later by the Obama administration. They were indicted with 18 other defendants. And there were several trials before we got to Cliven and his sons' trials, but most of those trials failed on the part of the prosecution. Cliven's trial started about 3 months ago, at the end of October. And in the early stages of that trial before a jury, we learned that evidence was withheld, suppressed, shredded. We learned that agents of the FBI and the BLM came onto that ranch to harm Cliven. They actually had snipers at the ranch before people even came to the defense of the Bundys. And we know that people did come. People came from around the country, some on horseback, and seeing that the Bundys had been violently attacked and their lives threatened, they came using their Second Amendment rights. Now, they never pointed guns in the direction of the Federal Bureau of Investigation or the Bureau of Land Management, any of those agents. In fact, the reverse was true. But the Obama administration, which was extremely vindictive and was being manipulated by former corrupt Senator Harry Reid, who with his son reportedly was trying to sell the land out from Cliven. It was almost like a Western movie, if not a bad cartoon. These people abused the rights of the Bundys and the other defendants, and they lied in court. They lied under oath in front of the jury. They lied in terms of the judge, and the prosecutors also lied to the judge. Now, this judge, who was appointed at the recommendation of Harry Reid, Gloria Navarro, by Barack Obama, in previous trials and in the early stages of this trial, made virtually every ruling against the Bundys and their co-defendants. But when we learned during the course of the trial that this gross obstruction of justice, this miscarriage of justice had occurred, even this judge was forced to abandon a sinking ship to preserve her own reputation. In fact, the Las Vegas Review-Journal had called her a friend of the prosecutors. Now, this Monday, the indictment was dismissed with prejudice ultimately, right after a whistleblower came forward from the Bureau of Land Management saying they actually had a kill list on the head of the Bundys and his sons. And this is the most outrageous instance of government abuse that I've ever seen in my lifetime. This is exactly what King George III did in the days leading up to the American Revolution. The Bundy family, a very fine family, and I've gotten to know Cliven very well. I visited him throughout this entire ordeal in prison at least 25 times. I spent hours and hours with him. I've gotten to know him. He's a very righteous man. So are his sons. They believe in the Constitution. They believe in the rule of law. And this government, which claimed that they owned the land, the federal government, does not own that land. It belongs to the state of Nevada. And now that we have won, now that we have waged a second American Revolution, we have a legal task ahead of us. We have to bring a case for declaratory relief in the state court in Nevada to get this issue settled once and for all, that this land does not belong to the federal government. Government never held this land as its own, yet they tried to collect grazing fees on it. And to collect those grazing fees, they later got a federal court, to rule that Cliven Bundy had to turn over his cattle to pay these phony grazing fees. And we're going to need your support for that case. And we're now considering civil rights actions because these federal agents, they were prejudiced against Mormons. They made remarks like Mormons are retards, they're subhuman, those kinds of things. There were kill lists on the heads of the Bundys and his sons, as I said. There were targets put up on the walls with X's as if they had already been killed. We know that snipers were sent out there. This was a government-wide effort to destroy the Bundys and to destroy our freedoms and liberties. And that's why I ask you, go to clivenbundydefensefund.org. Contribute to that defense fund, because we've got a lot of legal work to do here. We not only have to have this land declared as owned by the people of Nevada, but we have to fight for justice by bringing hard-hitting constitutional law and civil rights cases against these prosecutors and against these federal agencies. And we know that the FBI in particular has violated the rights even of our president, President Trump, who can certainly relate to this. And we're going to be seeking a meeting with President Trump and the Bundys in the White House. We know that during his campaign, he supported the Bundys and the ranchers throughout the West who have been driven out of business by the Bureau of Land Management. And we need your help, because we just waged a mini second American Revolution, but we cannot stop now. We must finish the job, not just for the Bundys, but for you and your loved ones, because if something like this happens again in this country, clearly we're on the road to lose all of our liberties and freedoms. God bless you. God bless America. God save America. Go to clivenbundydefensefund.org. clivenbundydefensefund.org. I'll put the Chiron up on this YouTube and contribute to that fund so we have the ability to bring about justice once and for all. Thank you.